Hey there, Vic right here, and today I'm going to let you know about 10 useful tips of Final Fantasy XIV. Number 1. In this game you can hire retainers. These act as multiple things, including your bank, how you sell items on the market board, a way to gather materials, and as a garden gnome. You can hire a retainer from the retainer vocates in the markets of each city-state. You can customize and choose what their appearance is, and once this is done, any summoning bell found in the world can be used to summon your retainer. You can store items in their inventory or use them to sell items on the market board. You can also assign them a class and send them out on ventures to gather items. After completing the level 17 quest, the Scions of the Seventh Dawn, you can pick up the quest An Ill-Conceived Venture for one of the 3 default city-states to unlock ventures. They can be any battle class or a gatherer. Gatherers can gather any material that you've gathered yourself in the past, and battle classes can gather items that drop from enemies in the open world. There's also random ventures which can return all kinds of items. They can only reach a maximum level of what you've gotten in that same class, so if you're level 67 as a botanist, they can't go any higher than 67 until you've leveled up. If you decide to change their class, they're going to go back to level 1 as well. You spend ventures on them that can be obtained by various means, but most commonly your grand company will give these to you for 200 seals each. You can also sit them in front of your house if you own one as a bit of a decoration. Number 2. Are you tired of that really annoying beeping sound whenever you're trying to spam your keys for maximum uptime? Just go to Character Configuration, Log Window Settings, and then turn off Display Error Messages when actions fail, and Display Recast Timer Error Messages. Now when you press an ability before it's ready to be used again, instead of the game screaming at you, it's just going to do nothing. Number 3. After being raised, you're immune to damage for a time. In most cases, save for a handful of mechanics like in Rage mechanics and stuff, you will be immune to damage or attacks for roughly 5 seconds after being raised. This buff here will let you know when you're safe. During this time, you can walk around and get into position for mechanics and so on. If it's a mechanic like a soak mechanic, you can just do the mechanic and not take damage. But the moment you attack or cast anything, you will lose the buff. So if the boss is channeling a big AoE, maybe just sit there for a couple seconds so you don't immediately get knocked down again. Number 4. Positionals are a major mechanic for melee DPS in this game. There are 2 types of positionals, the rear and the flank. The rear is the back of the boss and the flank is the sides. This picture here shows you an easy way to tell what's what. When you target an enemy, this icon appears around him. The missing part is the rear, and the sides are the flank. In some cases you might notice that the circle is closed in. In this situation, there is no positional, and you will get the bonus no matter where you hit the boss from. This also applies to fights where the boss is just a giant thing hanging off the edge of the arena. There's no positionals there. Number 5. Blue quest markers with the tiny plus on them let you know that completing this quest will unlock something, be it a dungeon, job, minion, system, or mount, and so on. Number 6. If you want to practice your rotation or opener, there is training dummies set up in the game to let you do so. If you have a house or know someone with one, you can use the one that's put into their house. If not, there are dummies at a few locations such as Summerford Farm in Middle Enosia, Scorpion Crossing in Western Thanalan, and Whitebrim Front in Coerth's Central Highlands, just to name a few. There's actually many more, spanning from level 1 all the way up to level 70, so keep an eye out for them. There's also the Stone Sky Sea, which is a special training area in each expansion that lets you attack a training dummy that mimics the DPS check for the fight of your choosing. It has different names in Stormblood and Shadowbringers, but it does the same effect. Number 7. You can turn this setting off here to reduce other players' effects in order to remove visual clutter on your screen and save your retinas. Though I'd recommend making people in your party have limited effects at minimum, so that way you can still get a rough idea of what's been used, since there are a few important skills you're going to want to notice, such as Astrologian Star. People outside of your party, feel free to turn them off. If you want to get an idea of what skills you can and can't see on limited, feel free to set it on yourself even and test it out. Number 8. It can be a pain when you're having a good time in a raid but you notice your gear's about to break. Well, instead of having to leave and then go get it repaired, you can actually repair it yourself if you level up your crafters. If you hover over a piece of gear, it'll tell you here which crafter is required for that piece of gear and what level they need to be. Once this is done, you just need some dark matter in your inventory, and you can buy this from any of the random merchants scattered around the camps in the open world. Depending on what level your gear is, you might need a higher level of dark matter. but once you reach endgame, just stock up on a huge stack of the highest level and you're set. Just go here, right click on your gear and hit repair. Number 9. Damage in this game comes from when the cast bar is finished. The cast, however, won't line up 100% with the animation. That's why sometimes you'll get out of an indicator but get hit anyway. Usually when the cast bar fills or the animation starts playing, the damage is locked in. So if you aren't out yet, you will get hit. But this also plays into your advantage. If you know when the damage is snapshotted, you can run into the indicator and not get hit, but still get into position earlier. Do note that it's not always when the cast bar fills. It is most of the time, but there's a couple mechanics where it'll be a little bit afterwards. So you really got to figure out what's safe and what's not. And finally, for number 10, there is what I can say is the most valuable tip I can give. If you check your key bindings under System, there is a keybind called Target Filters. I think it's X by default, but I could be wrong on that. I just know it is for me and I don't remember binding it ever. Once this is bound, pressing this will make players untargetable. So when doing a quest and there's a large group of people crowding the quest marker, you can just hold this key down and then you can click straight on the quest marker and you won't accidentally click on any other players. So no more struggling to get past that big crowd of mounts. And those are my 10 tips for Final Fantasy XIV players. I hope some of these were helpful, and if you guys like this, I'll gladly make some more of these quick lists in the future. I really found this kind of fun. But with that said, my name is Vic Wright, and I'll see you all next time.